So, you have another more modern cargo cult, the peculiar history of the Jehovah Witnesses, right? That's a more modern cargo cult. We know how Christianity got started and how they went off, right? I mean, how did Christianity get spread around the world? Let's think about that for a minute. Christians will tell you that it was spread around the world by love and the gospel, the good news that had to be spread around the planet, right? That's not how Christianity got spread around the planet. Christianity got spread around the planet by raping, pillaging, killing, murdering, right? Stealing. That's how it got spread around the planet. During the papal inquisitions alone, which spanned over 700 years, where the popes themselves ordered the killing and the murder of anyone who would not align with the church. And so the inquisitions, they went literally continent hopping, and they killed over 50 million people over the course of 700 years under the order of the popes that ruled in those eras. The papal inquisitions, look it up. That's how Christianity got spread around the planet. How did it get over here to the Americas? Well, the Spaniards came over here and the Europeans came over here and beat and raped and killed and slaughtered. So what they would do is they would go to an indigenous tribe and they would take the chief or the chiefess or whatever, and they would bring them out in front of the whole group of people, the tribe, and they'd say, you're going to learn this, and if you don't want to learn this religion, then we're going to have to kill you. And so, of course, after some going back and forth and learning some of the basic understanding on communication, a lot of these tribesmen would be like, no, this isn't for us. We're going to maintain with our ancestral belief system, our spirituality. So what they would do is they would take that chief, that chiefess, and they would actually burn them at the stake in front of the whole tribe, hang them and torture them for days in front of the whole tribe. And so you're shown basically that if you don't fall in line, that could be you. And so once they do that, it's like breaking a horse, right? They take a horse, they put it in a gated area, and they literally work with that horse until they break it, until that horse can be ridden. It's the same exact thing they did with people around the planet. They went from continent to continent to continent to indigenous culture, one at a time, knocking them down, taking away their natural ancestral belief systems, and reinstalling this new Christianity belief system instead. Building churches there, torturing, killing, raping. It was a very bloody situation, and they used it to convert this planet into Christianity. It was very bloody, very, very, very murderous, very heartbreaking, really is what it was as well. And so after you break the first generation of people that you're there with, then the second generation is being now taught, listen, this is what we got to do. By the third generation, they're full swing. They're coming in, they're born in with that illusion, they're born with the lie. They're taught from birth. They're worshiping, they're honoring, they're bending over and on their knees and begging and praying and giving offerings and everything else. By the fourth generation, they don't even have to think anymore. It's just built into them. They're automatically doing it. You see? Jehovah's Witnesses, the same thing. The sect, now known as the Jehovah's Witnesses, was started by Charles Taze Russell, who was born in 1852. He was raised as a Congregationalist, but at the age of 17, he tried to convert an atheist to Christianity.
Have y'all ever really challenged what you've been taught from birth? Just ponder on it for a few seconds. Have you ever really challenged what you've been taught since birth? From the time you get here, they teach you to search for a God outside yourself. But truth is, you would have never got here if God wasn't already with you. So from the time you're born, your brain is like a cup. And every drop of liquid is like somebody's thoughts of influence. So you come in this world pure, but you're tainted and polluted with other people's desires and thoughts and influences. And because this has been bred into you from birth, you think that this is the right way because you were born into it. And you know nothing outside of it. From the time you were born, you've been bred to be mentally colonized and put inside of a box. And any thought that doesn't tie into that box is considered crazy, far-fetched to those that have mentally colonized you and trapped you mentally inside of a box. So if you were never taught anything about a Jesus or Muhammad, none of these deities, you wouldn't know nothing about them. If you were never taught about their names, how would you be able to understand who they are? If you were never taught about these books in which they live in, you wouldn't know nothing about them. If you were to take all those books and set them on fire and give birth to a child, and that child never heard of any of these names of deities, they wouldn't know nothing about them. The only reason they exist is because they was bred into your mind. The mind is all. This is cosmic law. Do y'all really get what I'm saying? There are many things that we walk past not even noticing because we have no interest in it. It was there all along, but because you didn't have any interest in it, you didn't see it. Do you understand that? So let's just say you were born into a world where there were no landmines, such as religions, Jesus, Muhammad, all these deities that reside in books that you've never seen physically. What in actuality would really exist? Well, let's lay out this foundation so y'all can understand how brainwashed the masses have become due to mental programming from birth, especially Christians. It's over for them. There's a few of them that can pull from out of that pit, but especially for the old heads, it's over with. There's a small amount that can pull out of that pit. But let's see exactly what do we have. Besides the elements that we see every day, earth, wind, fire, air, ether, and all this. Water and all that, okay? If I didn't say I'm throwing it enough. What do we actually have to verify what could be possibly the God? Or what could possibly be the nature of the Creator in which we were really designed to flow with before indoctrination took place? Well, let's think about it. For millennials, people have been having out-of-body experiences, night paralysis, which is linked to out-of-body experiences. Because y'all should know by now, especially those of you that have been following my channel. If you are new to the channel, well, welcome. I shall lay it out for you. When you have a night paralysis, your astral body is disconnected, your fourth dimensional body, which is the counterpart to your physical body. There would not be a physical body if there wasn't a blueprint for the physical body, which is the etheric body. In other words, the astral body, which is the fourth dimensional body, which we know today as the spiritual plane. So with that being said, we would have that definitely. We would also have clear foresight as far as what they call deja vu, which is another way of tapping into your Akashic records or seeing into the future. So we would definitely have these things. We would also have emotional telepathy to where we'd be able to feel the feelings of those that may project energy towards us. They wouldn't even have to say nothing. This is why children can feel if they're loved or not, because they are functioning from their solar plexus chakra, which is emotional telepathy. In other words, they call these people empaths. You would also be linked, like we are today, linked to the spiritual plane through dream states. Nobody visits a religion. Nobody has ever visited a religion when they went to sleep. You always visit the spiritual plane. Therefore, you are spiritual by nature. Anything else is totally uncivilized. Some of us, even through meditation, have visited realms and dimensions of certain deities that have been created by us, which have been transmuted from thought forms into elementals. So these are things that have and will be initiated if you were never taught about a religion or indoctrinated inside of a book. So first, we have telepathy, forms of telepathy, which are emotional telepathy. We also have the astral plane, which is linked to the astral body. Okay? We also have clairvoyance, clairsentience. These are things that are innate within us that have been shut off because we have been desiring outside influences. Not going within, not silencing the mind through forms of meditation. Let it be known that when you silence the outside world, you awaken the inside world. For when one goes to sleep, another one always awakens. Therefore, energy never dies, it simply transfers. Therefore, death is an illusion. Okay? It's like when you shut off this physical realm, now you're in your dream state, or the spiritual realm, that is. So whenever one cops out, another one picks it up. And this is what you can get from just meditating when you silence the mind. So many of you may say, how do I tap in? Tap inwardly. Well, silence the mind. Find inner peace within yourself and silence the mind. Get to the point where you hear the ringing in the ear noise. When you just hear that loud ringing noise. That beep or beep sound. Now you're tuning in. You're tapping within. Now just focus in on the frequency. Tune in on that frequency so you can tap all the way into that frequency. But we were never taught these things because we live in a world that is structured around mind control, influence, religion, brain conquering. Nobody really has a mind of their own today because it was something that was bred into them by someone else. Some type of influence that they picked up from someone else. Whether it been a parent, whether it been somebody that they just admired. It was something that was bred into them, whether it been through school systems. The majority of people were never taught how to think outside the box. They were never taught how to think for themselves. They were only taught what to think. This is why you get religions, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and all this, because they were taught what to think, not how to think. How can you expand your horizon and you can't think outside of a book? You know more than just the moon. You cannot become a sun or a light unless you can shine beyond the veil, which is what you've been taught, which has entrapped you inside of a box. But the truth of the fact is that the masses have been held back due to fear because they are afraid to challenge this God concept or this God entity which has been inbred within them, a God outside of themselves. A God outside of themselves. Not knowing that every cell in their body, nucleus, protons, electrons, all of these microbes inside of their body are universes. I don't think y'all hear me. The kingdom is within you. In my Father's mansion, or in my Father's kingdom, are many mansions. The kingdom is within you. Literally. Think about it now. Everything outside of you is totally an illusion. Illusion is something that fades away, that appears, then soon fades away. So let's look down the wheel of time and see if I'm telling a goddamn lie. Everybody that you know, if you were to be able to live to be 1,000 years old, 3,000 years old, and everybody else lived their natural existence of life experience, which is no more than like 100 or 120 at the most. Okay? You will see civilizations rise, fall. And remember, an illusion is something that appears, then soon fades away. You will see people come and go. This is the world of illusion. And if you were to dig in the earth, all you will find is ancient ruins of civilizations piled on top of civilizations, piled on top of civilizations. Because we're dealing with the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm. How things rise and how things fall. So, this is the world of illusion. The law of rhythm creates the world of illusion. Things rise and things fall. It appears, then it soon fades away. This is a part of cosmic law. This is why we have this dimension, the third dimension. Because it springs from the law of rhythm. the law of illusion, the law of rise and fall. So those that pass away and transition and go over, they leave this dimension and take the same concept of a mind frame with them. They leave trapped in a box and they wind up trapped in a box, because your consciousness will only take you to the next dimension or realm of that which you have within you. You project your own reality in this realm, and you project your own reality in the next dimension. This is why we walk past some things and we don't even know it's there, because it doesn't appeal to our attention. Okay? So again, if you were never taught anything about these religions or deities, Jesus, Allah, Muhammad, you wouldn't know nothing about them whatsoever, because it wasn't brought to your attention. So the question must be asked, well, where is this God created fella, a substance or whatever it may be? Where is it? It's within you. The only thing that keeps it bound from you or shielded from you is your egotistical illusion. The perception of that you are who you think you are, which you are not. This is why the Bible says, for you were brought at a price. You are not your own. So in other words, are you operating from your soul or are you operating from your ego? What standpoint do you really stand upon? If you have really never shifted your consciousness from one dimension to another dimension, you will never truly understand what I'm talking about. Until then, you can only speculate on what I'm talking about on this behalf. If the mighty God presence hasn't awakening you, or you haven't evolved mentally on a vibration to where it will awaken, then you will not understand what I'm talking about. You can only come to your own speculations of belief and faith. That's what the blind do. They walk on faith and belief. So the majority, the masses, are blind. They do not know. And those that do know are looked upon as a fraud. They're looked upon as something that's evil, something, because these are the things that they're looked upon. They're looked upon as a magician. And to a Christian, that's something evil. To a religious person, that's something evil. Okay? And the reason why they're looked upon as this, because it totally destroys what religious people have been taught from birth, to search for a God outside of themselves. Again, you won't even get on this bitch if God won't with you from the get-go. So what in the fuck are y'all looking for a God outside of yourselves? This is because the ego creates this illusion. Shut down the ego, and then you will understand where the true God dwells at. Within you, shit. Within your physical body, which is the real source of who you are. Look at it like this, and I've said this plenty of times, and I'm going to say it again because it's very well needed to say. The Most High, the Creator, the first spark in the universe, the first force in the universe, the first motion in the universe, the first thought in the universe, projected itself in multi-dimensions so that it can experience itself. You are one of those sparks. You are a fragment of that Creator. You're just a fragment of the Creator. Therefore, you are the Creator. Not the ego, not the personality. The personality is the ego. Destroy the personality, and then you will be able to see with a clear eye. For the spirit of clear sight is upon me tonight, y'all. It is fear that is holding man back from their spiritual evolution, of their soul expanding itself and gaining experience in this dimension. It is fear that is holding the mortal back from evolving into a celestial being. It's fear. And it is all wrapped around religion, because religion holds a person in fear of really challenging that which they have been taught about, because they feel like God is going to get them. A God outside of them at that. I've just explained to y'all that your reality is from your own concept as far as what you put your attention on. So this God fella wouldn't even exist if you weren't taught about it, the one outside of you. And then on top of that, we talking about a jealous God. We know that jealousy is a low, weak-ass trait. Everybody know that. So what does this say about this so-called one and only, which is a jealous God, in the Bible? He's a bottom feeder. Think about it now. He's vibrating low. We always talk about the law of vibration. We must vibrate high with pure thoughts and all this. But the God in the Bible vibrating low as fuck, he jealous. And that's the one y'all scared of? A low vibrating motherfucker? When you really raise your vibration, you repel low vibration. You only aim and put your attention on high vibrations. You repel low vibrations. In other words, you will totally repel the jealous God in the Bible. Because he's low vibrational. Don't tell me I'm fucking lying. Go in the motherfucking book from Genesis all the way to damn near Revelation. He's low vibrating. He's killed everybody in the goddamn book almost that's an enemy to him except Lucifer or the devil. Because of course they working together. Now we're dealing with the law of polarity. You couldn't have a negative without a positive. You couldn't have a left side without a right side. In other words, you couldn't have a good without a bad. So one can't exist without the other. These are the laws of the universe, which is the law of gender and the law of polarity. We're dealing with law, universal law. There would not be any life without these universal laws. If you can wrap your mind around life without these universal laws, it's chaos. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. There wouldn't be any structure, any organization without these universal laws. Destroy the universal laws, all you have is pure chaos. Tell me I'm fucking lying. So we're dealing with a low vibrating ass deity in the Bible that should be repelled because he's vibrating low. Killed all these people in the fucking Bible, and yet he created man in his own image. So what does that say about the God itself in the Bible, this low vibrating jealous God? We know he's low vibrating because he's jealous. And what he does is he kills. Kills his own creation that he made in his image. In other words, he's killing himself because there's something within this deity or this God that he doesn't like about itself. He doesn't like that there's a parasite within him. Think about this shit now. I know it's real hard for y'all to swallow, especially if you're religious and you've been bred into believing something all of your life. Because of fear, you never wanted to challenge it. We're talking about a blood sacrificing God. This God is no different than the Illuminati, okay? No different. To where they make you sign certain contracts, but in order for you to get a certain deal or have a covenant with them, you have to sacrifice something in life. Blood sacrifice. The God in the Bible, the same motherfucker. Tell me I'm lying. I know y'all, some of y'all want to say I'm lying, but you can't. And the only thing that has you in denial is fear in which you were bred into through their religion. It is my aim to penetrate straight through the motherfucking ego and hit you right in your soul. The ego doesn't want to allow this truth to enter, but your soul knows. I'm telling y'all the goddamn truth. I don't give a fuck how big your ego is. The ego is the enemy. The God in the Bible is egotistical. He's the one and only God. That's ego right there. Jealous. Ego right there. How the fuck you the one and only God when we are all fragments of the Creator experiencing itself in multi-dimensions? Isn't it written in your law that I have said that you were gods? That shit even in the Bible, so it's a contradiction right there. In the Gnostic text, it tells you that the subordinate God, the jealous God, is not the one and only God. There were immortals far before he was even designed or created by the Great Mother. Okay? We talk about Gnostic texts that go back like 50,000 years because they were introduced to the Egyptians by the Atlanteans. Way before the fucking Bible was even thought of. Way before Allah, okay, and the Quran was mentioned. Way before Jesus was even thought of. Okay, before Caucasians invented the shit like 500 years ago. Way before then. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Shit. Half of y'all ain't read. Most of you Christians haven't even read the whole damn Bible. Been reading the motherfucker all your life and still ain't finished the whole damn book. Ain't that some shit? Don't even read it for real. Just wait on the pastor to say what's in the book. But you got the book. Because it make you feel some type of way because you got the book. But you really don't know what the fuck in the book. But you got the book. You're supposed to be reading it all your life, but you ain't read the whole book yet. Sense does that make? Walking on faith. That's what the shit sound like. And that's what y'all doing. Blind leading the blind. Because if you're walking on faith, your ass blind. That means you're just going. You're a drifter. You're drifting through life. You scared to know? Because you scared to go try some shit. Fear got you. Scared to go draw a magic circle and conjure up some shit and speak from the voice of a God and not pray. Scared to speak from the voice of a God. If you are God's children of the Most High God, you are a God, not a human. That's an illusion. Mortal. You're not a mortal. That's an illusion. How many times do I got to break this shit down? You're supposed to be commanding shit. Theurgy, energy work. Invoking. Summoning, commanding. Not prayer. A God ain't got no business praying. If you do start off a prayer, end that motherfucker with a command. You're the God. Anyway, until then, y'all got to break these shackles. Break these motherfuckers. Peace.